One of the recommendations would be, are you really ready for your life to be changed during this period of time? 75 to 90% of what I do is somehow related to the capital campaign. Whether it's reviewing architectural documents, meeting with the architects and our construction contractor, fundraising, creating the marketing pieces.
Development to building and then operational and stewardship of this project.
The bulk of our jobs right now are really focused heavily on this project.
The best way I could describe it is that you're kind of the owner's rep. You are the convener of all the necessary partners and you play multiple roles through that process.
So as we were designing, we were encouraged to tour different YMCAs. And as we toured different YMCAs, we thought about what did we like? What did we not like? What did they not think about? What maybe looks like it's not working?
Having those real life, world life examples comparatively was a huge piece of this. We could benchmark that against other builds and designs. We were able to draw off of some of those operational costs once the building was up and running to help us also inform our things like our performa. Budget is always going to be a key piece with this, and that is you don't want to build a Y that the community can't afford, and you also want to make sure that you have a facility that is representative of the community you serve and representative of who you are as an organization. Capital development is never linear. Thinking you're going to get to point A to point C just rarely happens, even more so if you're working with multiple partners in that process. I would encourage you to have persistence and patience through that process because you will realize a greater outcome than what you're even envisioned today. And certainly some of the other elements like fly-throughs and stills to help support our fundraising efforts were a key for us in helping to communicate the case to our donors and get them excited.
It's until you see a picture and those initial renderings that, you've either grasped it or you haven't. And the first rendering I think that we saw that had color and that had cars in the parking lot and people in different programmatic spaces are really truly exciting. And as we go into that fundraising effort, it's one thing for us to talk and to share our passion about the project to our bigger donors, but at the end of the day, they also want to see pictures because they want to see and envision themselves in that space. Sometimes as a nonprofit looking to save money, you start thinking, well, what are the things we can do ourselves? And just because you can do it yourself doesn't necessarily mean it's the best option. Initially, we thought about, okay, well, we can put furniture in a building ourselves. That's no problem. We thought we could do it ourselves, and yeah, we could, and it would be okay. But then as we started thinking about it, if we really want pop and flair and be cohesive with that vision, no, we don't have expertise in that. So that's where we kind of came back and said, yes, please, we do want your help.
Really thinking about the intentionality that we had, the colors in the building, to where the social spaces were, how we lined up with our furniture vendors was all part of that process that I think really ended up to the end product that we have. And that was all derived back to, again, the experience that we wanted our members to have when they walked into our facilities and how it enabled us as a tool to engage with our members. That was a critical piece. So that intentionality was always at the forefront. To make sure that we did this right, because this is once in a lifetime opportunities, it was important that we assembled a team that would really help us in making sure that we were building a facility or a hub that was going to be appropriate, not only for today, but for the future. So choosing an architect that was going to have the same collaborative spirit as us and be flexible and nimble was critically important.
Also making sure that you have a strong team, whether that be your fellow directors and your full-time staff, or whether that be you have a strong board. You really need to have a strong team that believes in the project. If it's your vision, you need to have people on board with your vision locally. You have to really create this whole group of people behind this vision for it to be successful.
Use your resources, and resources are calling on your counterparts, not only within the state, but also across the country, because there's many of us that have gone through this process. And tap into the resources and networks of the partners that you're choosing to have involved in that project. It's just going to add to the overall strength of that project and ensure that you're going to be on target with delivering on the promise that you are trying to communicate to your community.